120 used cars, trucks, and SUVs. $2.5 million in inventory, starting at $2,995. Down payments as low as $29. And payments starting at just $99 a month. Shop at PremierTroy.com or come see us. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain grill. But I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio, just off the square in Troy.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Forrest Lee, and this is Bill Rice. And on the phone, we have Mike Amos, and we want to welcome you to this December the 30th on a Thursday morning.
Wait, we've only got 2 days left to 2021. Wow.
Good morning, Mike. How we doing today?
Doing great. Like you said, it's two more days till kickoff. Is that right?
Well, it's the end of the year. My brother's birthday's tomorrow. He'll be 60.
Easy to remember. Easy to remember that one. New Year's Eve birthday.
New Year's Eve, and they got a tax break for him. Right, they just made it in there.
Yeah.
But Kenny's a former Marine and retired United States Army with the Alabama Army National Guard. Did that for several years. Was full time in Troy and Brundage.
Awesome.
And
he's going to be 66 years old.
66, Route 66.
Well, you know, that's the end of the baby boomers. I think go from 1946 to 1964.
Yeah.
He's probably in there.
I was considered a baby, but
he
I was
55.
Born in 47.
He was 50. He was born in 55. My sister 58. I was born in 59, and mother sister 64.
I was born in 65 in August.
Well, let me tell you what I did yesterday, Mike. I went down to Bird's Drugs and had a good breakfast. Then I just take off to Luverne, and my wife Jody works in Luverne at the health department about once every 3 weeks. Well, we went to the Chicken Shack the night before where we're going to meet for lunch yesterday at the Chicken Shack. So I stopped in downtown Luverne and stopped at a couple of antique stores. Mm-hmm. I've been looking for bowling pins and found 10.
Oh my gosh!
And I spray paint them and do Santa Claus stuff with them. So next year I've got me a project to do.
You're looking for bowling pins? How about that?
And I picked up an old football helmet and a couple other things. And then after that, I stopped at another. Saw a second cousin of mine who owns a nail salon and visited her a little bit, then went to Rutledge. I said, well, there's a hair salon in Rutledge. And I've been before, and I got a haircut in Rutledge and met a lady named Amber, who's the owner. But she's got a cousin named Judy who, were you at the Christmas parade where you saw the Bramer Bull, Brisket, the Bramer Bull, a lady riding a Bramer Bull in Troy?
My gosh, I missed
So I don't remember that.
Well, this lady has broken a Bramer Bull, and she takes it from rodeo to rodeo.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to Arizona in a couple of weeks, but that's fascinating that you got this lady riding down the street on a Bramer Bull.
Something you don't see every day.
And
you know that lady.
The Luverne parade?
I don't know if she was in Luverne. I thought she said she might have been in the Troy parade, but she travels all over the place. And I know Benny Pickard's got Bramer Bulls, and I think he can walk up to them and touch them. But anyway.
Well, you had quite an adventure.
Yeah.
I don't have anything that can compare to that.
Well, then
I laid on the couch and watched TV and ate all day.
I didn't make
I did a little writing, a little research, but nothing to compare to that.
Well, I hope it's pretty enough today. I'm gonna go ahead and I have sprayed painted my bowling pins and made like a Charles Henderson. Put a Charles Henderson logo on it. And so
you call it a bowling pin? Is it a bowling ball or a bowling pin?
It's a bowling pins. They're white, but I spray paint them either white, solid white, or red, and just put different logos on them. And I have painted a penguin.
How did you get that idea to do something with bowling?
I saw something on
some show?
Pinterest or Facebook. I said, hey, I could do something like that, and I've done it. And
well, you got a lot of neat hobbies. You're a gardener. You do woodwork. You recycle bowling pins.
Oh, we got another phone call.
All right, let's see. Guten Morgen.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you?
Hello. Is there somebody else on the line too?
Yeah, you got Mike Amos.
All right. Well, we got Michael Amos that's calling from Grayton Beach, Florida. It's where the beautiful people live.
Hey, Michael, there's a Milo's Tea sign on an antique store in Luverne, Alabama. You need to stop and buy it. It's
I'm actually drinking Milo's tea right now as we speak. I guess Bo Nix is no longer sponsored by Milo's tea since he's playing in Oregon.
I guess not. In Oregon, took a thumping.
After looking at those Oregon uniforms, would you want to put one of those things on?
No.
Yeah,
I tell you what, Bob Stoops should have just told Oklahoma he was going to coach for a couple more years and get 200 wins. I think he's at 191 now.
Yeah. They've won, what, 40-something to...
40-something to 32. 40-something to 32. It was 30-3 at halftime. Oregon actually came back and made it a game, or more respectable. But... yeah, if you had a 3-game parlay yesterday, you took Oklahoma, Clemson, and Maryland, you'd have been a happy guy.
Yeah. Well, didn't Stoops give his visor to Venables after the game? He handed him his visor, I believe.
Passed the
saw
visor.
A press conference or a picture of that.
You know, Dad and I saw Tallulah Tagovailoa playing high school at Thompson. We saw him play Mountain Brook one time, and, of course, he went to Alabama, and he's been really inconsistent at Maryland, throwing a lot of interceptions. But man, he destroyed Virginia Tech yesterday.
You know, would he be a good one on a portal?
Would he transfer portal?
Could he transfer if he wanted to?
Yeah, anybody can transfer. Yeah.
Well, he's already transferred once. Can he transfer again?
I think that's his
Yeah,
first.
But he transferred and had to sit out, didn't he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think
that's
he did. I don't think he
Maryland's
did.
first winning season since 2014. I think I saw a blurb on.
Yeah, Tallulah didn't sit out. He played immediately because this is his second full year as a starter. So he has played the 2021 and the 2020 season. Before that, he was played at Alabama in 2019.
He gets a COVID year, though, so as a COVID year goes, he'll have, I think, another year at least.
He was 20 of 24 for 265 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and he ran for a fair amount too. He's a good player, but like Michael says, he's been inconsistent. But there's times he's looked really, really good. I'm pulling for him.
Clemson last night, Nolan Turner, Kevin Turner's son, didn't play. I guess he's injured, right?
Oh no!
Yeah, was that him? Was that him in the foot brace?
That was him that was him on the sidelines, number 24, that had the Gatorade dumping or Cheetos dumping it on Dabo.
Hey, I'm going to ask you a tough question, Michael, that's been in the back of my mind for a while. You might know. 3, 4, 5 years ago, I remember reading that Gene Stallings, Beebe Stallings' grandson, was a tight end prospect, and he went to Clemson. Is that this guy? Is that this Allen kid that's had a pretty good year, or do you know if Gene Stallings grandson is.
I don't know. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I have to look that up.
Oh,
Well, I thought at the time, I think Alabama was kind of recruiting him, and so I thought it was interesting that Beep Stalin's grandson chose Clemson and Dabo over Alabama. But I saw that they had some. I saw some tight end, white tight end that's had a pretty good year, and they mentioned him. And his last name wouldn't be Stallings; it would be one of his daughters.
now here we go.
Yeah.
The latest offer for Clemson tight end commit J.C. Chalk is the grandson of legendary football Gene Stallings.
Oh, really?
J.C. Chalk.
What year did he sign, though? He's been at Clemson for.
He picked Clemson, I guess, over Texas A&M. Said he was a 3-star. That's the first thing that pulled up.
And what is his name again? A.C.
J.C. Chalk.
Well, that's not the name I remember. This was several years ago, so he would. I just wondered if he stayed at Clemson and if he ended up playing at Clemson.
I'm pulling him up again.
Look at the Clemson roster.
Boy, great basketball last night. Auburn beats an undefeated LSU team, blows them out at home. Auburn is the real deal. That Kessler kid, the big 6'11" guy that transferred from North Carolina, had big 16 points, 9 rebounds, 11 block shots for Auburn last night.
11 block shots. That's phenomenal.
That is.
Then Alabama came back and beat a really good Tennessee team last night in Tuscaloosa. So Alabama bounces back after a couple losses. Alabama was led by the Noah Gurley kid who transferred in from Furman, 6'8" forward. It was lights out for Alabama, scored 22 points. And Alabama had a huge crowd, even though the students were out at Coleman Coliseum. And COVID being rapid in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, I was shocked by the crowd. I saw our cousin dad on the front row, Bill Crow, several times throughout the game.
Yeah, they went on. Johnny Williams' brother went to the game, but he's on his way to Dallas right now. Johnny, I talked to Johnny yesterday. He's on his way to. Well, he's in Dallas by now, but Johnny's brother doesn't miss a game.
I wonder how many Alabama fans will be at the game in Jerry World.
I don't know.
What would you say?
I don't know.
It's an easy trip. There's a direct flight out of Panama City Beach Airport, Dad. If you want to get on a plane today, we'll just head on out there.
What, just goes to Dallas? Is that right?
That's it.
That's right. Yeah.
Austin Cross for Pike Liberal Arts yesterday. They inbounded the ball with 3.5 seconds, and they defeated William Blunt. He hit a three-pointer just inside half court. Austin Cross to win the game 64-63. So they're playing in the championship tonight against Breathitt County High School, Kentucky.
Oh my
at 7 o'clock.
This is big news.
Yeah, that's the 27th.
Dad, you ought to drop the Freeport one side tonight.
Yeah.
This is Pike Liberal Arts playing public school teams and private school teams from all over the South in a huge tournament and a chance to win the tournament.
They defeated William Blunt High School. I think they're out of Tennessee, but they won 64-63. And the day before, listen to this stat line, when they beat Navarre to play William Blunt. But in that game, Austin had 23 points. Drew Nelson had 18.
Wow.
Darrell Lee 11 and Mario Davenport 9. Cross hit 5 3-pointers, and Nelson and Lee hit 2 each. So
golly, Coach Cross.
Austin Cross he's a junior.
Well, Coach Cross's son is going to be a prospect and might end up playing at Troy.
That shot is all over Facebook. I've seen a lot of people post it. He really was. He just barely stepped into. He was almost at half court when he shot it. Straight down, half court.
Who's this guy that made the shot? Who's the guy that made the shot?
Scott Cross's son is the star player. Probably Lavares made the shot.
And the Troy coach's son made the last second shot.
Half court shot.
What's his name again?
Austin. All the boys are named for a city in Texas.
Austin
Cross.
Yeah, they showed the players running out on the court, and mobbing him. And then, of course, you saw Matt Brown and Billy Jeffcoat, the two tallest coaches in basketball, shaking hands with the coaches afterwards.
Isn't that amazing? Austin Cross hit a shot beyond half court for Pike to win the game, and they are now going to play a team
out of Kentucky.
Out of Kentucky.
They threw it inbounds. They threw it inbounds to Cross, and you figured he would try to drive, but it literally, as soon as he caught the ball, he shot it.
Yeah.
Now, how much did they win by?
1.
So they were down
by 2. They
so
were
he
down
had
by
to shoot.
2.
All right.
Just inside half court. And I looked up that team out of Kentucky. They got a 6'8" guy, a 6'8", 6'5", 6'6", and maybe a 6'3".
Yeah, here's what we've been saying about Pike Lib. We know their baseball team could compete in the public school league and win a state championship probably in 2A, 1A. Their basketball team, we now know, can compete in the public school league against anybody. That basketball team is low. And then the little baseball pitcher from Pike Liberal Arts is apparently a really good basketball player, too.
Yeah, Austin.
Well, he's going to play for Auburn this year. He's also a very good basketball player.
Well, he scored 18 points in one game. So Pike Liberal Arts, does that mean they have won 4 games in this tournament? They were.
They tonight, if they win, they'll win 4.
So they won 3.
All right, Mike, tell me what time they play tonight.
7 o'clock.
Portia said 7 o'clock, I think.
7 o'clock at Freeport High School, I believe.
Yeah, they call it the Sandestin Hilton Classic, but it's nowhere close to the Sandestin Hilton. I mean, I'm talking about literally, it would be 20 miles from the Sandestin Hilton to 331, and then once you get to 331, you're over the bridge, over Chattahoochee Bay, into Freeport. It's about a 40-minute drive from where I guess they're staying.
How tall is Austin Cross?
He's about 5'11", 5'10", 5'11".
And he's just a junior,
Just
too.
a junior.
He's not a senior. He's a junior.
Well, the baby boy who's in the 7th grade is extremely polished. Tyler.
Oh, he's a...
Yeah, and there's the middle one. I hadn't been around the middle one that much, but he plays for the JV team. He and the younger brother, but that younger brother is very polished with the ball as far as dribbling and court awareness. They all are clean-cut kids. They have hair shorter than mine.
These coaches' sons, and especially in basketball, they're usually always very, very good.
They're the best students in school. They're just dynamite. And their mother is an assistant coach for the volleyball team.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that update. That is exciting. We'll all be pulling for Pike Liberal Arts. Good luck, guys.
All right, if you give me a
so what do y'all think about this today? North Carolina, South Carolina play today. The winner gets Duke mayonnaise poured on top of them. Would you want to win to get Duke mayonnaise poured on top of you?
Oh God!
You know, I've turned to Duke. I was a Hellman's guy for years, but Duke is just as good as Hellman's.
Is it just as good or better?
My brother-in-law got me to make the change. I guess when he started dating my sister, and I've never looked back.
I have never had it in my life. I mean, but man, and it seems funny that. In the last year, I had never really heard about it, and then now in the last couple months and year, I hear a lot of people just talking about Duke mayonnaise.
Yeah, my brother-in-law's from North Carolina, South Carolina, but North Carolina, South Carolina days at 10:30 a.m. North Carolina is a huge favorite. The line is 10.5.
Yeah, what you think about that, Michael?
Your brother-in-law is sitting or is asleep in North Carolina as we speak.
The crazy thing about this game is if South Carolina loses, SEC will start bowl season 0-5. Has that ever happened?
Well, then you got Purdue and Tennessee today too.
Tennessee might break the streak.
I know, but I mean South Carolina probably will lose to North Carolina 0-5 to start bowl season. It kind of scares you about how good the SEC really was.
Well, you never know about Purdue. Yeah. Purdue is beaten several good teams this year, so it wouldn't be surprising if Purdue beat Tennessee.
Well, Clemson won, beat Iowa State.
Clemson won last night. That's 11 straight seasons of 10 or more wins. Alabama has the current longest streak of 14 with 10 or more wins, tied with Florida State. You have to think with Alabama having Bryce Young coming back next year, Alabama's going to break that record.
Yeah, I like that. I like it when you find these little obscure records that you got a chance to win. That's a good one. 10-win season, so Alabama could do it next year if they play up to expectations.
Here's
Mike, while we see, give me a time and a location for that basketball game tonight between Pipeline Park and Team.
I don't have that information. Forrest has got all that. It sounds like it's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock at Freeport High School.
All right, 7 Freeport High School. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're talking college football real quick. You know, next year Troy University, I guess, will open up at Ole Miss on the 3rd of September. Then on the 10th, we'll host Alabama A&M. Troy University will. Mm-hmm. Then we'll play at Western Kentucky, and then we'll play home against Army on the 12th, and then we'll have our regular teams, and they'll fill that in. But Alabama will play Utah State, Texas, University of Louisiana Monroe, and Austin Peay in their non-conference games. Auburn, Mercer, San Jose State, Penn State, and Western Kentucky. So both Auburn and Troy are playing Western Kentucky next year.
And Auburn is playing San Jose State. I think they gave up their football program for a while. Like UAB, they brought it back. Mm-hmm. And then Penn State and Auburn will be an exciting game.
And Georgia's going to put up with Auburn.
Alabama Austin Peay tickets are already on the ground. All you got to do is pick them up and walk to the stadium.
Why don't instead of playing Austin Peay or La Monroe or Utah State, they could play the Troy Trojans and fill up Bryant Denny and probably win with no problem.
Yeah, you don't even have tickets anymore. Everything gets downloaded to your phone, so you don't even have tickets anymore to throw on the ground.
Cash is no good. We were at Christmas Eve, well, the day after Christmas, we stopped in Pine Mountain and had lunch with a high school classmate of Jody's. And they would not take cash in that restaurant. It had to be a debit card or credit card. I was fixing to pay, our bill was $44. I had a $50 bill. I was going to pay that.
What did you do?
Cash, no cash.
You know, that is scary to me. I think, you know, you're getting into this conspiracy realm here, that Cooksville. But I think it's a legit thing that the powers that be are trying to ban cash transactions. And ladies and gentlemen, when you don't have cash money that you can keep it under your wallet or under your mattress or save, you're really, the government owns you. I mean, once you have these electronic digital currency and their money is where they can access it and
trace everything that you do.
But you're right. There's plenty of places that do not accept cash.
The Georgia Dome, Mercedes-Benz, there's no cash. You cannot go to the concession stand. You've got to buy it with a card.
Or if you pull out, you can't pull out cash from the bank over a certain amount, or they'll monitor you, and you can't take extra amount of cash overseas. You know, they are trying to go to all digital. And I think it's an ominous development, and I hope everybody that thinks I'm not a kook fights this trend. Watch it.
Well, I tell you a place that still will take cash for the rest of your life is a casino.
No, they'll get the casinos.
They
will right now, but those are big. Those are owned by big companies, and who is in bed with the government is. All the big companies do what the government wants and vice versa, so they'll fall in line.
Let's get back to some sports.
That makes Mike nervous when I go off on these tangents.
Looks like we got
right now I'm looking at the Gulf of Mexico, and I'm actually laying in my bed now. I'm sprawled out, but I open up the drapes, and all you can see is ocean. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful ocean.
It is beautiful and it's big. That's the Gulf of Mexico, which becomes the Atlantic Ocean, which goes over to Africa, and then it wraps around. Then it becomes the Pacific Ocean, and then you got the Arctic and the Antarctic Ocean. A lot of water. How much is the planet? The planet is about 80% water, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I I pulled up some information about Coach Sumrall, our new coach at Troy University. His fellow teammates called him drill sergeant because of how he approached the game. And he led Kentucky in tackles his junior year, but in the spring training of his about to be a senior year, he had a stinger in spring practice. And he was in pain for 2 days. Well, he went through some medical tests, and they determined that he had a spinal column that was narrowing, and so they recommended that he give up football. So he did.
Oh.
And so he was the leading tackler his junior year at Kentucky as a linebacker and was projected to be the starting middle linebacker. But I kept reading the article, and he coached a kid out of LaGrange, Georgia named Wesley Woodyard, who played, I think, a lot for the Denver Broncos.
Uh-huh.
And Woodyard had a lot of, so that was kind of neat to read all that.
Well, I didn't know that he had to give up his last year of football because of that injury.
That was in 2004 or 2005, that type, because that was, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
But he does look like a drill sergeant.
I can't believe that Troy University now has 3 coaches, football coaches, that all played at Kentucky. You had Bradshaw, Neil Brown, and now Summerall. Right. That's amazing how that worked out.
And the defensive coordinator, what's his last name?
Brown, I think. Shill Brown.
No, at Troy. Who's our defensive coordinator? It came from Army.
The new one?
Yeah. Well, his wife is a doctor. She's got
medical doctor.
Yes, I just saw who he was married to, and I just.
I think Lexington is a good town. I was real close to the Bradshaws. I've repeated many times because Charles was my best friend, and man, and I'm real close to Mrs. Bradshaw, which became Mrs. Gibbs. She remarried Al Gibbs, and they had fond memories of Lexington, especially Miss Bradshaw, and spoke highly of it, of the town. I've never been to Lexington. I'm sure Mike has.
At one time, they all quit him except for 26 players. At one time, he had only 26 players on his roster when Coach Bradshaw was coaching at Tennessee.
I think that's about right.
You mean at
Kentucky.
Well, they called them the Thin 30, so I know they had 30. There's been books written about that. You're right. He coached Bradshaw, left Alabama where he coached my dad as the offensive line coach on the national championship team, and was hired as the head coach at Kentucky. And apparently he did the Junction Boys, Coach Bryant thing at Kentucky, and you're right, he got down to 30 or under 30 players for the next season.
I had Coach Bradshaw for a class called Theory and Technique of Coaching Football, and I stood up straight, I looked dead at him, and I didn't say one word. Yes, sir.
Coach, his nickname was the Silver Fox.
Uh-huh.
Coach Wood is the new defense coordinator. Shill Wood.
Yeah, it's his wife, who is a medical doctor.
Oh, really?
Yes, she's a medical doctor.
Okay.
Well, she's come to Troy and be add to our.
I think she's pediatrician. All kind. I mean, you read her. I think she graduated from the University of South Carolina Medical School or something like that.
Well, that's interesting. The wife is a doctor, and so her husband's a football coach. So she's the family has to bounce around every 2 years because of his profession. So.
Well, there was a good article about how he took care of the little girl.
Y'all think it's a chance we'll have a new doctor in town? Is that right?
I guess so. We need them.
She was a soccer player in college. Anyway.
So. But that's great. Give it to a little.
I need to mention that DeMarcus Ware is much closer to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. DeMarcus Ware is one of 26 modern era semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2022. You can vote, do your part by voting for that class as well. So DeMarcus Ware looks like he will be the first Troy player ever in football to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's huge.
That's great.
Wow.
That is great.
They'll get him a yellow coat.
Dad, will we make the trip to watch DeMarcus go into the Hall of Fame? You made that trip?
Canton, Ohio.
Uh,
Is that June or July?
I
Where's that
thought
going
I
there?
doubt it, but I do
Usually it's
wish
July,
him
I
all
think.
the luck. I tell you what, he's a class gentleman, and he's a real winner, no question about it.
Doesn't he have a video or an exercise routine now that he's promoting fitness?
Yeah, he's doing all kinds of stuff like that. He's in phenomenal shape. He just had another little baby the other day.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, he's a fine alumnus, and of course one of the great players of all time.
I would say he's
right
the
there,
he's in the running for the most famous people that have ever lived in Troy. Certainly the most famous Troy alumni of all time. Wouldn't you say more people in America know who DeMarcus Ware is than any other Troy?
I would think he would be number one
Yeah.
as far as people around this country that knew him. And what he wore number 97, didn't he?
94.
What was his number?
94.
94. Okay.
The reason I know that is I have an autograph DeMarcus Ware number 94 Dallas Cowboys jersey.
I would like to go back and watch some of the games his junior and senior year and watch him in college. I didn't watch him as closely because I didn't know he was going to be this great. I always knew he was really good. But watch what he did in college. He must have just dominated people in college.
Well, see, he got to Troy weighing 195 pound. He was a 195 pound receiver when he got to Troy, and then I reckon he started gaining weight. They moved him to defense, and the rest was history.
I know it. He was.
Where is the Prince now? Where's O.C. Urmanero? Where is he?
He works for the NFL in Europe, is what I've heard.
Oh, wow.
Promoting the game.
But he probably
He's
I think
from
he
London.
lives in Atlanta.
He's from London, though.
Didn't he marry Miss Universe or something like that?
Yeah, he married Miss Universe.
Yeah, OC will not make the Hall. He will not make the Hall of Fame, but he was a Pro Bowl player that was a dominant NFL player for many years.
O.C. Mayor is in the Giants Ring of Honor, so he's definitely in the Hall of Fame for the Giants.
Okay, let's say so OC and DeMarcus are the two best Troy pros without question. Who would be number 3?
Cornelius Griffin?
No,
Mike
Oh, they were
I'm talking about Troy University.
No,
Then
I'm
we'll
talking
go.
about Troy University.
Then we'll go to that. That's a good question. We'll go to that next.
Virgil C. was
I mean,
Super Bowl winner.
Lawrence Hines won 2 Super Bowls as a kicker, so he's got to be pretty high up there.
What about the nose guard with the Bucks that's been playing for about 10 years?
Steve McClendon still playing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still playing.
Steve McClendon, but Mario Addison's been a great player for the Bills. He's still a starter, number 97.
Yeah.
None of them became household names and stars except DeMarcus and OC.
Is Bear Woods still playing with the Canadian Football League, or is he through?
Yeah,
He's still playing.
We'll be hearing more from him after his career. I wish we could get him back in Troy in some capacity.
I mean, Leotis McKelvin's probably got to be number 3. I think he played 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, and he was really
Pro
good.
Bowler 1 year. He was a pretty good pro.
You know, we talk about how good Marcus Jones is as a kick returner. You know, he's All-American kick returner. Started at Troy and transferred to Houston. But there's no way he's better than Leotis McKelvin. I mean, that guy, he has records that will never be broken as a kick returner at Troy. And the thing I remember about Mike, I bet you'll back me up here, he could have had about 4 or 5 more touchdowns because he had about 4 or 5 called back because of holdings and clips and punt and kick returns.
Yeah.
But he was phenomenal on kick and punt returns.
He was a first-round pick. I mean, first-round pick, I think a number 11 right where DeMarcus went. So, I think
he had a good career, and he ran back some kicks for touchdowns in the NFL. Then he blew out his knee one year, didn't he, Michael?
I mean, Darrell Jernigan doesn't get hurt. I think Darrell Jernigan, he was going to be the starting wide receiver for the Giants and Eli Manning, and had a breakout year the year before, and then he blows out his knee, and really never was the same again. I think Jernigan would have had a really good pro career if he wouldn't have got hurt.
Dan, Danny Cox in baseball, of
Yep.
course, would be pretty well known, in the St. Louis area, and
Had a
Danny
great career.
Cox in baseball.
Yeah.
Lee Otis is 36 years old from Waycross, Georgia.
He
Went
was
to Ware
so
County.
explosive on his first couple steps, and then these great kick returners. You know what they do? They get north and south in a hurry. And he was an unbelievable cornerback as well. Yeah, you're right. He would in my list. He would be number 3 behind DeMarcus and Ossie as a pro career. And then you said the greatest NFL players from Pike County. Well, it's not a long list. I mean, it's Bobby Marlowe might be the best of all, but he played in the Canadian League, so it's
right.
really Fred Baxter and Cornelius Griffin. Am I leaving off anybody else?
I think Cornelius would be the most well-known local player.
I don't know, man. Fred Baxter played forever.
Yeah, that's right. Now, just think about him. Baxter with the Jets.
And the Falcons, I think. Baxter. I think Baxter played for about 8 or 9 years, and Cornelius played for about 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
I want to say Cornelius spent 10 years.
I would think Cornelius was better known than any of the other local people.
Well, I think that those are the only 2 people from Pike County that played and made an NFL roster. Yeah. Nobody from
then you had our good friend Brian Meadows in Major League Baseball, and then Wesley Wright also made the Major Leagues. Wesley, I think, played 6 or 7 years as well. Yeah. Brian played 7 years Major League service.
You know, I talked to Brian
I don't know. Listen, I don't know why we haven't thought about Brian. Brian might be the number 1 local person ever.
He wasn't. He bounced around from team to team, and so he was never a star player in any one stop. So he wouldn't. His name would not be well known by most baseball fans.
Yeah. Frederick Denard Baxter played 11 years for the Jets, Bears, and Patriots. He was a Super Bowl champion in 2003.
For who? Who was he a Super Bowl champion for?
New England, probably. Yeah. Born in Brundage, Alabama.
So he played with Tom Brady.
2003 Super Bowl champion.
Give us Brian Meadows.
Brian won about 43 games.
All right. Well, how many years did he pitch in the Major League?
He had about I think 7 years of Major League service.
He played for the Marlins, the Padres, the Royals, the Pirates, and the Devil Rays from 98 to 2006.
So yeah,
he's 47 and 62.
Yeah. His Major League debut.
47 and 62.
Yeah. Says born in Montgomery. 46 years old.
Of course, a lot of folks were born in Montgomery. The great Amos twins were born in Montgomery.
Well, Brian Meadows is the only Troy native who made it to the professional level, the top professional level. I mean, there's been nobody from Troy that made it to the NFL. There's been nobody that made it to the NBA. We had one that made it. You know, my dad was drafted in the NFL, and he got cut in the last cut. And, you know, a team actually picked him up off of waivers, and he said the heck with it. He was done with football. So he was drafted and played in some exhibition games, but he never made a regular season roster.
Yeah. Wesley Wright, of course, played at Goshen. He was selected by the Dodgers in the 7th round. He received a scholarship offer from the University of South Alabama, but signed with the Dodgers. He played with the Astros, Rays, Cubs, Orioles, and the Los Angeles Angels from 2008 to 2015.
Yeah, we got to put an asterisk by Wesley.
That's awfully good.
We got to put an asterisk by him because he played high school baseball at Goshen, but he did not live in Pike County. He lived in Montgomery County, right on close to Pike County. But
he's 36 years old. He's only 36.
He was at every game I remember when I was a little kid, because I grew up playing with Willie Wright. right, Trey Wright. And I remember him as a little kid running around everywhere when I was growing up.
And then I had another brother. I know that family well because of Willie, which was also called Trey. The middle brother, I think, was a great basketball player that played college basketball, and he played at Goshen too. Derek, I think, or
I'm not sure.
he played baseball, but he was a very good basketball player. And then Wesley, I remember he burst on the scene, and you knew he was great when Troy hosted the 13-year-old World Series for the first time at the Sportsplex. When you're the host team, you get to play in the World Series. Mm-hmm. Well, he was on that team, and Troy dang near won the World Series. They finished, I think, in third place. He was the star pitcher and shortstop on that team.
I'll throw out a couple of more. One of them would be Jimmy Norman. He signed with the Chicago Cubs.
Ned Farmer.
Jimmy Norman, who owns a gas station on the bypass, and the other one would be
Ned Farmer.
The other one would be Bobby Joe Ellsworth, who for years was the recreation director in Brundage, but he played in the major league. I'm not sure that he played in the major league, but he went all the way up to AAA baseball.
That's good. That's awesome.
What about Ned?
Yeah, I've heard my Frank Fryer talk about Bobby Joe Ellsworth was really good.
Yeah, he was a great one.
I mean, I guess the name to be determined is what will Corey Dennis become? Will Corey Dennis become a legendary football coach? And he's a Charles Henderson, Julie Gride.
Yeah, he rolled into Troy when he was in the 8th grade.
That's about the time I did. I rolled in when I was in the 7th.
He played, 3 years as a starting quarterback at Charles Henderson High School, so he's got to be considered a Troy kid.
He will be, unless he comes off track, he will be a head coach somewhere, I bet. He's just too sharp and too good a pedigree not to.
I remember when I saw Corey Dennis at the middle school, he was in the office. I went to Robin. I said, Robin, your Christmas present just arrived. Christmas comes early. This was in August. I said, go to the office and see what Santa Claus brought you. It was Corey Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew that he was going to be a good player, didn't you?
Yeah. Corey, you can just look at him. Of course, the pedigree alone.
Well, it's like Coach Bradshaw when he came to Troy. Charles was a really, really good football player himself. So,
hey, I've got an announcement here. Yesterday, the Sun Belt Conference updates their COVID-19 protocols for basketball. It says games that cannot be played due to COVID-19 will be canceled and considered a no contest and will not be rescheduled. The minimum threshold required to compete is 7 student athletes, scholarship or non-scholarship, plus 1 full-time coach. If a team meets that minimum threshold, they are required to play.
Gotcha. Teams
may choose to play with less than the minimum threshold, so they can play with 6
or 5.
But if you've got 7, you've got to play.
I'd like to see some team play with 5, and then you get somebody that fouls out, and you can play with 4. You don't have to have 5 players.
I think you got to start with 5. Well, I don't know what the rule is.
Wasn't there a couple of years ago where Alabama ended up playing the game with 3 players or 4 players? Everybody fouled out, and they actually came back and made a run with. Some team came back and made a run with less than 5 players on the court.
So that's some protocols right there.
I want to mention that this show is brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass here in Troy, where they'll beat anybody's deal. I mean, anybody's deal. We'll be back to more today in L.A. in just a moment.
I got a question for y'all when we come back.
It's the Big Finish pre-owned sales event. 120 used cars, trucks, and SUVs. $2.5 million in inventory. Starting at $2,995. Down payments as low as $29. And payments starting at just $99 a month. Shop at PremierTroy.com or come see us. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
A personal touch. A high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
It's the Big Finish event going on now at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Save up to $10,000 on new Ram 1500 or new Jeep Grand Cherokee. Save up to $10,000 during the Big Finish event at PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
It's the Big Finish pre-owned sales event. 120 used cars, trucks, and SUVs. $2.5 million in inventory. Starting at $2,995. Down payments as low as $29. And payments starting at just $99 a month. Shop at PremierTroy.com or come see us. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
He would have been 21.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Today in L.A. I'm Forrest Lee, and this is Bill Rice. And on the phone, we have Mike Amos Sr. and his son Michael Jr. calling in from Florida. Welcome back.
Michael just
Yeah,
said that.
I was mentioning during the break, Dabo Swinney won his 150th game as a coach yesterday. I thought he was actually younger, but he's 150 and 36, which is a phenomenal record. But he is 52 years old. But I mean, I guess he's got a great chance. He'll probably coach another 15 years to get to 300 wins.
Good point. You're right.
You're right. Hey, last night was one of the longest interviews I've ever seen with a coach on TV. Did y'all see the interview?
Who was
yeah, they did. They did talk to him a long time. You're right.
And just think though of how good that made him look to all these recruits across the country.
Who are we talking about?
We're talking about Dabo Swinney.
Oh. He was interviewed, I bet 10 minutes on TV. Of course, he's recruiting every day, and that had to help him in his recruiting.
I would like to play for Dabo.
So right now today, if Saban coaches another 7 or 8 more years, which a lot of people think he will, and you had a choice of, say, Dabo Swinney keeps on winning and Lane Kiffin keeps on winning, who would get the Alabama job?
Boy,
Dabo Swinney.
I hope Dabo. Dabo's got.
If you had a choice, probably.
Dabo's got so much more class and doesn't show his butt like Lane Kiffin has in points in his life. Plus, he's an Alabama guy. He loves Alabama.
Dabo, but I don't know if you could ever get him, but he'd be the. I don't know. I shouldn't say that.
But Dabo at 60 years old, probably by the time Saban leaves. He's 52 now. Would he want to leave Clemson at 60? I doubt that.
I don't think Saban's going to coach 7 more years, but you might be right. We'll say, I wouldn't be surprised if he coaches for about.
I think he's a lifer.
2 or 3 more years.
And Saban's been in 5 of the last 6 national championship games. Is that right? If they make this one, let's beat Cincinnati.
I keep being asked all the time, when are you going to say something about Auburn? What do you think about Auburn right now?
Well, I mean, they got to find a quarterback, and they've got to find some offensive linemen, and they got to basically find a way to win a close game. They lost 5 straight games, and they lost a lot of close games. The biggest loss they had in that streak is Alabama for sure, but you got to remember they were up 28-3 against Mississippi State, got beat.
I'll tell you something, about that quarterback. He sure is pretty. If they want to hire, want to play somebody that's a real good-looking athlete, he's a good-looking athlete. What is he? 6'5", weighs 240 or 250.
I think he's taller than that.
How about 6'7", 246?
He's tall as.
My apologies.
He's tall as Wilder, the boxer that lost to Tyson Fury.
You see, 6'7" and weighs 240, 245.
Hey, I watched that. That was a fight that actually I don't keep up with boxing like I used to when Ali and Tyson were around and Sugar Ray Leonard. But I got real interested in Wilder and Fury. I like Fury. He's quite a character. And a couple weeks ago, they replayed the Tyson, the Fury Wilder third fight. That's the one where there were 5 knockdowns in the fight, and it was like a Rocky movie. I mean, it was just nonstop blows from round 1. Really good fight, but Fury.
Did he?
Fury just eventually
knock him down. Did Wilder knock Fury down?
Twice.
Yeah, almost won the fight.
Yeah, one time Fury barely got up right before the count again. But for most of the fight, it was Fury. It looks like Wilder he lost his energy or his stamina, and he was just holding on from about the 5th round. I mean, Fury was just beating the slop out of him. But every round, though, Wilder would get some blows in. So you said, well, he's got a chance.
I tell you, if you like boxing, the greatest boxing fight of all time is Hagler Hearns. You got to go back and watch that clip. Right?
I have seen it, and I agree with you.
That's one of the greatest boxing matches ever.
It was only like 3 or 4 rounds, but it was nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, nonstop punching.
Yeah, that was a good one. Sugar Ray Leonard was in some good ones.
We're jumping around real well this morning. We're talking about boxing. We're talking about basketball. And, of course, everybody's still talking about Austin Cross's shot at half court that won the big basketball game for Pike LaBallard.
What is half court? 45 feet, or what is it, Force?
It's 88 feet.
So 44
I think
feet?
88 feet. It could be 88. The length of the court's 88.
So it's about 44-foot shot?
It could be 94.
A 44-foot shot by Austin Cross, the young junior. He's only a junior, is that right?
He is.
Mm-hmm.
He's only
What do y'all think about the controversy of Alabama and Georgia? Of course, you got games tomorrow on New Year's Eve to New Year's Day. Alabama will be playing at 2:30 tomorrow. What do you think you'll see as far as I guess nationally people watching that game at 2:30? What do you think the ratings will be, Russ?
Low. I mean, there'll be 15 million, 17, 18 million people watching it, but they should be about 25 million people watching it.
I mean, imagine the difference in how many people will be watching Georgia and Michigan later that night.
It'll be a lot more.
It'll be a lot more.
But, that might change because Mike Amos has called it. Cincinnati's going to win the ball game. And once everybody starts seeing, oh, my gosh, Cincinnati might win it. You watch the Alabama-Texas A&M ratings this year, the Alabama-Auburn ratings. When teams have Alabama on the ropes, we just talked about boxers that are on the ropes, more eyeballs go to it because they want to see the king dethroned, get it.
Yeah.
So that
remember Rice was a nervous smoker, so Rice will probably go through a pack of cigarettes.
Oh, you're right. You're probably right.
All right, Michael, you're getting real personal with him when you start talking to him about smoking.
Well, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna quit. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, but I'm not gonna quit before this game.
I'm gonna answer your question. The court is 50 foot by 94 foot, and I'm sure Freeport's is 94, but it can be shorter. Mm-hmm. High school can be, but a college court is 94 foot long. But I think Freeport's probably.
And the head basketball coach at Freeport is David Felix, who for years was the assistant coach at Troy.
And from Indiana.
Hall of Famer David Felix.
Well, he knows more basketball than the whole rest of this room.
What about Carl Hollis or Marvin Sales going into the Hall of Fame?
We got to make it happen. I saw Coach Hollis the other day, and I said you are not. Why are you not in the Hall of Fame? And he just shrugged and was classy about it. But there's several people, and Mike Amos and Michael might be able to make that happen. Carl Hollis, you look up. I mean, he started probably for 4 years, and I guarantee he averaged about 16 points a game and a ton of rebounds every game.
Yeah, Carl Hollis and Cleve Hollis too. Didn't he have a brother named Cleve Hollis?
I went to his retirement ceremony at what's that? Michelle's on the bypass, going between Troy and Brothers on the left. Jay Michelle's, but all his brothers are huge. They're like 6'4", 6'8".
You know, Coach Hollis was a
Headland.
power forward, great basketball player. So he made a good. But man, can't you picture him? I wonder if he ever played football. Put him as a defensive lineman or a tight end. Man, he looks like a big football player too.
He reminds me of a tall Rosie Greer, that Fu Manchu, and he's a pastor at County Line Baptist Church.
He was hard nosed with those. He was loving. You know, he had a soft heart, but he had some great basketball teams at Charles Simpson.
He was an excellent preacher. To go with all of that, he had a wonderful congregation and still does.
Still does, yeah.
You know, I was going to tell you, I read it online, a memo from Cynthia Thomas, the superintendent of Troy City Schools. The students and teachers will be in mask while they're in the building for the month of January.
My wife told me that.
School buses, yeah.
University of Auburn, Auburn University is going to be doing the same. It's going to be a mandatory mask policy at Auburn and UAB. Still waiting to hear about Alabama.
Right.
So
regardless of your vaccination status.
So we got to go buy some more masks.
All right. Let us know when it's 8 o'clock. We go to our second.
You know, the Troy women play today. They'll host Coastal Carolina at 6 o'clock to start Sun Belt play here in Troy. The Lady Trojans are 9-5, and the men are 9-4, and they'll play at Texas State against the Bobcats tonight in Texas. That tip-off is at 7 o'clock to start their Sun Belt play.
Win that first conference game. Hey, look, talking about getting back, we bound.
Sir?
That'll be on
both of those games be on the radio, do you know?
I'm not real sure.
I'm sure they are, yeah.
WTBF will probably carry them.
The Trojan Network would have especially all the conference games.
You can pick it up on TroyTrojans.com on your app, Dad, if you want to listen to it.
Yeah, I got you.
But talking about boxing matches, I watched Wilder Fury, and then I also recently watched a 30 for 30, one of those great ESPN documentaries on Buster Douglas's upset of Mike Tyson. Biggest upset in boxing history. He was a 42-1 underdog. Beat undefeated Mike Tyson in Tokyo, Japan.
And do you know that? I watched that boxing match, and it was never close.
You're right. That's what I was going to say, Mike. Is he was beating the slop out of him.
His mother passed away 2 weeks before that.
Tyson knocked him down, and he almost didn't get up.
That's true too.
He almost lost.
Well, he was winning the fight every round. He was jabbing and had the control of the fight. Was no way he was going to lose. And then in the 8th round, Tyson hit him with an uppercut and knocked him down. And Buster barely got up. Some people say that the count went on was too slow. Mm-hmm. There was a 12-second count. He got up at 9. Yep. But then Buster Douglas went right back he recovered. That was right at the end of the round, so he was kind of saved. Yeah. Saved by the bell. You ever heard that expression? He was literally saved by the bell. And then he came back in the 10th round and just tore into Tyson. I think that's the round. Yep. He then knocked him out in the 11th round.
His mother passed away about 2 weeks before that. But going back to Wilder and Fury, Wilder 6'7". Well, I believe I'd be kind of tired too if somebody 6'9" was whooping me.
I know.
That's how tall. 6'7" and 6'9".
Yes, it's amazing.
That's a lot of biscuits.
Fury does not look like a boxer. I mean, he's kind of pudgy and he's bald and he's white. He's just he's really good.
And no question about it.
He beat one of those Russians. You know, we forget about it, but for 10 years, the heavyweight division was dominated by these two Russian brothers.
Yeah.
That they were all real tall, too.
You know, we had talked a lot about the Georgia-Michigan game coming up. You know, I mean, Georgia, a lot of people felt like this was like the greatest team of all time, one of the greatest defenses ever how Georgia turns around and loses to Alabama in the SEC championship and now to Michigan. I mean, can you imagine that Georgia fan base, how devastated they will be?
Yep.
I mean, thinking they were going to be like, almost a sure thing national champions.
Yeah, you're right.
Y'all, I tell you this, you're exactly right, but I still cannot believe that Michigan can put up enough offense to beat Georgia.
Yeah.
I think Georgia.
I don't know, man. They're pretty physical offensive line and good running backs. I mean, Georgia, I think, kind of got exposed a little bit against Alabama.
I think the defense for Georgia and Alabama will win.
Georgia will be a lot better offensively than Michigan.
I've
got two really good defensive ends.
I will say that
Michigan's defensive ends are tough. Georgia's going to have to block them.
Yeah, Michigan's tough. I mean, the Big Ten, I think, is pretty good, and to go through the Big Ten, and they lost one game.
I just got on a limb and I believe that Georgia will be too much defensively. They'll shut them down.
I mean, Georgia's got some really good running backs. I don't think they're going to throw near as much as Stetson Bennett, even though I would throw that tight end probably about at least once a series. That freshman tight end number 19 out of Napa, California, wine country is phenomenal.
He's going to be a legend, don't you think? He's going to be a college Gronk.
He picked
Georgia over Florida, tight end 19.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Georgia
you're right.
I think
he was looking at Alabama.
I'll make something clear. When I was, I believe Alabama. I believe that Cincinnati.
This may be Max Howell calling.
Hey, one of y'all might have to drop off. This is Max.
I can drop off. You call the Max.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Good morning. You're on Today in L.A.
Yeah, this is Max. How y'all this morning?
Doing good. Let me get one more person on the line. Max, stay with us. If I drop you off, call right back. Cause,
okay.
All right, let me try to get it. Let's see. Hold conference. All right, Mike, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, we got Max Howell joining us. I appreciate Max calling back today. We couldn't get him on yesterday. How's everything going, Max?
Doing very well. The storms have passed, and we're looking forward to 2022. I just want to wish you guys a very happy New Year, and thank you for all you've done to allow me to come on weekly, and certainly excited about what 2022 holds for us.
Well, Georgia, we're talking Georgia, Michigan. What you think?
Well, I think it's going to be probably the best score-wise ball game. I think it's going to be extremely close. I think Georgia's favored by 6 or 7. I think they got a chance to win. Michigan's going to be old-time, 50s football. Put your hand on the dirt, try to knock them off. And that's Georgia's strongest seat. That's their strongest part of the defense is that defensive front. So I think Georgia wins it, but I think it'll be a close call. Georgia can lose it on the sideline. I don't know they'll lose it on the field. But Kirby's got a history of losing on the sideline.
He does. You're right. You've been saying that ever since I've been on the show. You made a believer of me.
Well, I think, Mr. Mack, we got Mike Amos thinks Cincinnati's going to whoop Bama. What do you think?
Well, let me just say this. Let me say this. I will repeat myself again. I said that I'll take the 13.5. I'm not saying that they're going to win, but I'll take the 13.5.
We'll have to replay yesterday.
We got to play. At one point, you said that they were going to win the ball game, but
maybe so.
Alabama's on a mission, guys. I'm telling you now. I firmly believe that. And I can almost tell you this: they won't lose it on the sideline.
Well, I think Alabama is. I don't get the sense that Alabama's overlooking Cincinnati. That they're serious, and I don't think the coaches are. I don't think the fans. I haven't heard any cocky Alabama fans. I'm sure they call Feinbaum, but I think everybody respects Cincinnati, which I like.
Yeah, I think that's where they play their best. I think sometimes the psychological side with the kids, because they look at the tape and they play such at a high level through the years, they dismiss some of these teams. I think the two corners that the Cincinnati's got, I think they're going to get. I think Bryce Young and that bunch will test them right off the bat just to see, particularly since Beachy's not going to be there. They're going little players get in there and see what they can run by them. So I'm excited for them. I think it's going to be a really good ball game, and I look for Alabama to take it easy to start with, and maybe up by 6 or 10 by halftime, but then the third, fourth quarter, I look for them to turn it loose. I think they win by 20 or more.
Ooh.
Well, let me. Of course, that 20 or more is quite lucrative.
The line is 13.5 or 14. I got Cincinnati at 14. You know, I always take an insurance policy out in case Alabama loses. I want to get some money out of it, so you get 14 points from Cincinnati. Alabama could still win, and you could win your money.
Yeah.
Have you picked out your college and turnips yet for New Year's, Max?
What they said?
Have you done your grocery shopping for New Year's yet?
No, not really. I got me a couple of bags of black-eyed peas I'm gonna soak. It's a pork loin. I'll be ready to eat.
Hey, tell me, what do you do with these black-eyed peas? I don't know anything about cooking. What's all this soaking stuff? Tell me how you do it.
Well, it depends on you might go buy a can. It doesn't, boil it, you warm it. But most people like to get the dry ones and soak them overnight. Just put them in a pail of water, let them in a pan, let them sit overnight. Then rinse them off in the morning, put them in there with water, and I always put bacon or ham hock in it, cook them slow.
Yeah.
A couple of hours on a really low heat, or you put it in the crock pot with some pork. But the tradition is going to be in this part of the country, black-eyed peas and some kind of pork, and maybe a turnip greens. I like to have greens on the side as well. I'm a big collard green guy.
And some and some cornbread.
I'm not a collard green man. I'm a turnip guy. Now I don't care for collard, but I'm a turnip guy.
What's the difference between turnips and collard greens?
I think greens go excellent with that, but you can't omit the cornbread's got to go with that now, guys.
I agree.
Yeah. What is that name brand that I like so much, Mike? Mike's not on the air right now, but what is that that's so good?
Skillet cornbread?
The can.
No,
what?
You can probably make that.
Skillet cornbread or Jiffy? I like it home time.
Big green. What?
Oh, well, cornbread, I do it in a skillet.
Hey, y'all eat Glory. That's what I'm talking about. Glory. Are y'all familiar with that?
No, I've heard you say it all the time, but what's it mean?
They're green. You try the big green, the Glory big green in your store, and they're really good.
I like the little white peas that I used to call field peas. I don't know what you call them, that you soak and cook a long time too. My grandmother used to get from Ingram's Curb Market. Man, I think about all the work that my grandmother put into these Sunday dinners, and I guess everybody's mother and grandmother did the same thing. But I mean, she would shell peas for 3 hours the day before she started cooking.
Here we are. We got one of the leading sports analysts in the country, and y'all want to talk about ham hocks and beans.
Well, he's one of the best chefs in the country.
I know he's.
But guys, you got to eat now. You remember, before you in front of the TV all day.
Yeah, exactly. There'll probably be some pecan pie somewhere too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You got to top it off with some kind of sweet,
Well, you got that.
Don't you like those little apple fried pies on the side?
Yep. I want some of that Mississippi mud pie you talk about all the time, or mud cake.
Oh my gosh. Now that'll put you in a coma now. I tell you, if you want to sleep there.
I do.
And the thing about it, the key is ice cream. Put it over some ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
But with electric cooler, churns down, these guys don't have to sit around and crank it anymore. They'll always bring their churn, and we'll make up homemade ice cream to put on top of that mud pie down.
We're back to football now, though. Back to Georgia football now. Michigan's going to come out in a double tight end set. That means that they're not. Is that right? They're going to play. They're going to run it between the tackles in a double tight end set.
I think both teams look for. I hate to say this, but kind of a boring ball game that way. They'll play action pass. We know Bennett is going to get the quarterback start. They've already said that.
Mm-hmm.
So and he's adequate for them. He has some trouble, I think, throwing the deep ball. But I think Michigan's going to play them hard, play them tough. I think the score. I think the over and under what is 52-3 or something like that. So it's going to be a low-scoring ball game.
Yeah.
You're right. That Georgia tight end is special. And then they also have a wide receiver that's from Birmingham area, Max, that went to Alabama. Yeah, and then went to Hoover, Pickens. And he has missed the whole year coming back from a knee injury, but he started playing the game before Alabama. He played a few plays, and then he played a fair amount against Alabama, caught one big pass. And he ought to be more of a factor now that he's had an extra month to
Georgia's
rehab.
got like 2 more tight ends that are like 6'6", 6'8", that are real good.
Michael keeps talking about Alabama's got to somehow compensate for losing Mechie, who was a great player, a real competitor, tough player.
Yeah, I want to know that. What are they going to do there?
Well, what Michael says is Alabama needs Billingsley, one of Alabama's tight ends, to live up to his billing, which he has not done this year. He's been in the doghouse, and he was really, really good at the end of last year. He's one of these tight ends that can actually split them out and play almost like a wide receiver. So if he could revert to form, that would be huge for Alabama, but that's a big question mark.
Well, they got Brooks, and they got that Earls kid who'll be back. The fast punt returner.
JoJo Earl.
And,
I just don't. I've never seen a
Latu and Billingsley
player that hadn't shown anything all year, just all of a sudden out of the blue, step in and be big time. Normally these receivers, I mean, you look at all Alabama's great receivers, you can tell from the first game that they're special and they're on the field and catching balls. I think if these guys were that special, they would have been on the field catching balls, and they're not.
I agree with you. I think Alabama is they've got several players, key players out that are going to make a big difference.
Yeah, I think they're going to attack the corners out there. If you want to know, guys, they're going to use that bunch formation when they put 3 wide receivers out there. 2 of them's going to block, and 1 of them's going to be free. Cincinnati's not going to play both of those corners on one side. They can afford to. So I think Alabama will just outmatch them when it comes to talent on the field. That's why I think they'll pull away in the third and fourth quarter, because their depth is way deeper than Cincinnati's could be.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think everybody's going to see that they belong here. There's no question in my mind that they belong here.
The one thing that
you don't think they're going to be intimidated when they look at Alabama?
No way. Well, I really believe that they're past that. I mean, it's been so much hype, I think that with this quarterback being a veteran quarterback, it's going to play a big difference for them.
I think that that's a good point y'all raised about will they be intimidated. Well, they went to the Georgia Dome last year and were leading Florida with 1 second left in the game, and we're leading Georgia. So they weren't intimidated in that game. And then they went to Notre Dame, which ended up losing just 1 game all year, and they beat Notre Dame pretty handily, so they weren't intimidated there. I don't think they'll be intimidated by Alabama. And they've got, the thing I keep hearing is they've got 32 seniors. That's almost unheard of in today's football that they've got. So.
Yeah, they better get all they can get.
And they got a running back. Yeah. They got a running back that if he was on Alabama's side, he'd start for Alabama, or he'd start for.
Yep. Yeah, he ran for 100.
From Alabama.
Yeah, he played at Alabama. He ran for 180 yards. He transferred from Alabama. 2 games ago, he had 180 yards in 1 game. He's averaged 6.2 yards a carry. They've got a quarterback that's 6'4", that can run. Running quarterbacks can give Alabama a lot of trouble. This guy can run. He's run for about 500 yards in the season. And here's another thing y'all look out for. Cincinnati has a ton of sacks on defense. They've got a quick, aggressive defensive line. And Alabama, the teams that Alabama has had trouble with are teams that got pressure on Bryce Young.
They didn't seem to have any trouble against Georgia.
I know, but I don't know if Georgia, they didn't run the right blitzes or something. But Alabama's offensive line did all of a sudden, out of the blue, just play completely different. And so,
hey, Bill, let's go coaching.
You know what they did, Max? Did you notice when that offensive line became good? They replaced the center. Alabama, they went with a kid that nobody's ever heard of, and the last 2 games they've got this sophomore center, and then they replaced a right tackle that had been benched.
Right tackle. Yep.
And then he started playing.
All right, Max. Max, I want to say just 3 words. Can they block them? If they can block them, they can beat them.
Can Cincinnati's offensive front? Who's going to block Will Anderson? That's what I want to know.
And that's what I'm saying. If they can block them, they can beat them. I don't know if they can block them or not, but if they can't block them, they can beat them.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the whole key, regardless of how good the quarterback is or how good the running back is. If he ain't got time to throw it, and I think that's what Alabama's going to do. I think they're going to break 6 or 7. And, it's going to be a coaching game, guys. I'm telling you. You have all that talent in the world, but if you can't match up on any given play, you're going to lose the ball game.
Yeah.
Schematics.
So you really do not give them any chance whatsoever, can you?
Like they had played anybody but Notre Dame. Check that schedule and see who they played.
I know. Well, that's just the league they play in,
I know. That's the problem. That's why the difference in the league that Alabama plays in, and they've been there 7 times, and Cincinnati, this is the first ever. I don't think there's psychologically some intimidation, when they look across the field and see Alabama.
Yeah.
I didn't see, hey guys, I didn't see anybody from Cincinnati at the Heisman Award. As good as these guys would be, you got the Alabama quarterback that won it in his first year start.
All I've got to say is look out, Alabama, look out. You're going to see it. You're going to see it. Look out.
They're looking out. They're going to look out for Georgia to play Georgia again for the national championship, Mike.
I hope so.
Which I tell you what wouldn't that be something? And how would that work?
How wouldn't that be something that Alabama and Georgia, which are about on the same line geographically as each other, 3 or 4 hours apart, and then they go up to Indianapolis, Indiana to play the national championship.
Well, if they play Georgia, tell me what Georgia can do that they didn't do last time to win it.
They blitz more, and then they have more elaborate blitzes, and then they won't have.
All they do is lay it off. He'll lay it off on a quick, out.
They can also they can put more attention on Williams because they don't have to focus any on Mechie because he's not going to be there.
And who are going to place Mechie with him? Who is going to just step in and be great receivers for Alabama?
They got 4 or 5. They got 4 or 5. They're going to rotate in and out, and they also going to use two or 3 tight ends.
Yeah, 2, and.
Well, can Alabama finally put a running game together? Something that you used to take for granted with Alabama, that they were going to have a running back that could go for 140. I know.
100%.
Well,
we don't know about the rest of it.
Yeah, but can Alabama? I would feel so much better if I thought that Alabama's going to hand that ball to Robinson 25, 30 times, and he's going to rush for 150, 200 yards like Henry used to and tons of other backs used to. But that running game hadn't consistently been there this year. But it is good that Robinson is apparently going to be close to 100%. Because he's a tough player.
They utilize him. They'll use him catching it out of the backfield. They'll even put him in the slot sometimes and throw to him. Guys, that's why the preparation. That's why you got there. You tell me the last time Alabama got beat when they had 30 days to get ready.
Ohio State in 2014 in the playoffs.
I'm just saying take the 13 and a half
years ago.
Yeah.
Ohio State. Cincinnati.
I think Alabama took Ohio. We talked about that yesterday. I think Alabama thought that they were going to have no problem to beat Ohio State that year.
You want to compare Cincinnati to Ohio State?
No, I'm just saying that that year that Alabama didn't think Ohio State was going to be a real test, and you know they had backed into the playoffs, and then they had a third-string quarterback, and as it turns out, Ohio State was a bad boy and took it to Alabama.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a short break, and of course it's brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass right here in Troy. We'll be back in just a moment.
We're still live. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with Mike Amos and Max Howell.
Are you looking for a change this new year? Well, there's no better place to shop than Mitchell Hyundai in Enterprise, Alabama, or on the web at mitchellhyundai.com. We'll make sure you're prescribed the best vehicle to solve all your problems. Plus, we'll double America's best warranty to 20 years, 200,000 miles.
Well, what about this?
Whoa, maybe not all your problems. For your best selection and value, come see the doctor at Mitchell Hyundai in Enterprise, Alabama, or visit us on the web at mitchellhyundai.com.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC.
For more on this stunning victory, let's head down live to Coach Dr. Hyundai on the field.
Dr. Hyundai, that was a record win. Please tell the folks at home how you did it.
Well, you know, our guys, they go out there and give 110% every day. And you just can't lose with the Mitchell Hyundai Advantage package. And with Hyundai Owner Assurance, we double America's best warranty to 20 years, 200,000 miles. Now that's the real dream team. Score big with Mitchell Hyundai, Enterprise, Alabama.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
It's Alabama's favorite time of year, the tailgate season event, only at Mitchell Hyundai.
No matter what your home team needs, the doctor has the prescription. Like the new 2022 Hyundai Palisade with third-row seating, so no player gets left behind. Plus, we're doubling America's best warranty to 20 years, 200,000 miles. You can't lose with the tailgate season event. Score big with Mitchell Hyundai, Enterprise, Alabama. Are you looking for a change this new year? Well, there's no better place to shop than Mitchell Hyundai in Enterprise, Alabama, or on the web at mitchellhyundai.com. We'll make sure you're prescribed the best vehicle to solve all your problems. Plus, we'll double America's best warranty to 20 years, 200,000 miles.
Well, what about this?
Whoa, maybe not all your problems. For your best selection and value, come see the doctor at Mitchell Hyundai in Enterprise, Alabama, or visit us on the web at mitchellhyundai.com.
Now, we got... Welcome back to Today in L.A. This Thursday morning, I'm Forrest Lee, and this is Bill Rice. And on the phone, we have Mike Amos Sr. and Max Howell calling in from Mississippi. Welcome back to the show, guys. And we were talking a little bit during the break about Auburn football.
The future of Auburn football.
The future of Auburn football. They open up with Mercer, then San Jose, then Penn State next year. So that's their first 3 games. What are your thoughts?
They might have a chance to start off at least 2-1, maybe. So I'm just kind of anxious to see how they put it together. They fired Mike Bobo at the end of the season. They got a readjustment of an offensive coordinator. It looks like Harson's going to be the guy to call the plays over the sideline. We can all look and see what happened against Houston. They had 8 or 10 guys that opted out and chose not to play. So I think something's got to be done about that from everybody, not just Auburn, but from everybody. With the bulk of your players, I thought Bigby was not going to play as well. They got him back, so I think it's just a lot of questions right now of the direction at Auburn. I think a lot of Auburn people's asking questions as well.
Well, I heard yesterday.
Who's calling the shot?
Yeah, that's a question. Nobody knows. Well, Bobby Louder might be back in there. Who knows?
How about Jimmy Rain? Jimmy Rain, I'm thinking there might be a big something big's going to happen with it. Well, I don't know what kind of deal this AD's got, but I wouldn't think he was is looked at as being very happy alumni there.
Well, I think on the early signing day, they only signed one offensive lineman. So, and that's going to be an issue. You've signed one offensive lineman. Are you going to try to find them in the transfer portal, or are you going to try to sign some more high school kids?
They better.
Or junior college.
And they lose several to graduation, too. So, yeah.
There's like 4 or 5 that can graduate if they want to, starters on the offensive line.
Auburn just had a strange season. I mean, they should have beat Alabama. But then they said at the same time they've lost 5 games to end the year, and lose inexplicably to Mississippi State when they're up by 25 points, and South Carolina of all people. I just can't figure it out. I don't know.
I think it's a lot of I don't know going on.
And I'll tell you another thing too. That they missed that number. They missed both. I promise you, a lot of Auburn folks don't like what happened to Bo.
Really?
Well, I mean that all came from internally, Mike. That he saw things happening internally. You know, a guy that his dad played there, and he had such a legacy. You heard what he said in his last. He said, "I'm closing the door on Auburn completely," and he takes off and goes to Oregon to finish his last year.
Yeah, that's a good point, Max. He must know something what's going on behind the scenes.
And Oregon opens up against Georgia in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium next year.
Oh,
Oregon versus Georgia.
So Bo Nix could be playing Georgia again.
Yeah. Hello, welcome back.
Welcome
back to the South. Boom.
You think Bo will win the starting job at Oregon?
Well, the head coach just came from Auburn. I think so. Yeah. We'll see how that works.
Yeah, you're right.
From
and
Georgia,
if Bo look good, it's going to make Auburn folks sick. It's going to make them sick.
Oh yeah, it'd be a lot of Auburn food for Oregon. Of course, I don't know where you watched that last night. If that's Oregon team is coming back for next year, Georgia will run him right out of the state. I tell you,
they sure will.
Playing in the Mercedes.
They sure will. They were talking all about this great All-American that plays for Oregon. He didn't do anything.
Did he play?
I don't know what.
I don't think the defensive end played.
Did that outside linebacker defensive end that's supposed to be a top NFL prospect, did he even play? I just assumed he wouldn't play.
I thought he did. Did he play?
What was his name, Thibodeau or something?
Yeah,
like
something like that.
He didn't make a lot of noise if he did.
I don't think he did.
No, he didn't.
I don't think his agent. These agents tell these players, do not play in this ball game. You can get $10 million in a couple of months, or you can risk an injury that will keep you from getting $10 million.
And what are you going to do? I believe I won't not play.
I'll tell you this, I get the players not playing. I don't like it, and like y'all don't either. And I think you ought to play for the old school that supported you for a couple of years. But also, man, if you've got one chance in your life to make $10 or $15 million, go ahead and take it.
Well, in the Dukes Mayo Bowl today, it's got North Carolina versus South Carolina at 11:30, and at 3 it's Tennessee versus Purdue in the Music City Bowl in Nashville. And tonight at 10:30 it says Las Vegas Bowl, Wisconsin versus Arizona State. So we got 3 games today.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of fun. Max, one other thing for people that are just now listening in, what is for dinner?
Oh man, we got to have. This is tradition. You don't break tradition, Mike. We can do the black-eyed greens and black-eyed peas, and we'll do greens. And I got one group that like the turnips, so I got one group that likes the mixed greens, turnips and mustard and collard.
Oh yeah.
The Lee family loves
collards. We'll serve that, and they're gonna have a side order. They'll always have a side order of coleslaw with that. Cornbread will go with it. They'll have pork tenderloin on the grill. Iced tea. This going to be warm up here. If it was cold, they'd go after that Mississippi mud pie, but they'll have 3 or 4 different desserts out there on the table. Yeah. But it'll be all more about ball games this week, guys, as opposed to...
There'll be a little... we really appreciate you being with us on the show, Max, and of course, have a great, big... It's probably as big a sports day as you're going to get.
No doubt about it. I just think you guys, we wish y'all a very happy new year. And we'll get started again right after the season. We'll analyze it, then we'll take a break a while, get ready for spring training.
Y'all have a great day. And
you guys here. Thank you so much.
All right, Max. See ya.
Thank y'all for joining us on Today in LA. You can see the replay this afternoon at 1:30. And
we'll see you. I think next time we see you, it's going to be 2022. Isn't that right, Mike?
That's right. We'll be off tomorrow, and we'll run this show tomorrow, and we'll be ready to go to the big game on Friday.
And we'll know if Alabama can go for its 7th national championship.
Happy New Year.